Log into gyroscopeme.com, the hottest online radio station in the world. GS Radio all day, all night, worldwide. Powered by Gyroscope Media Group, LLC.
GS Radio, the best internet radio station worldwide. Providing the best in music and talk shows. Go to www.gsradionj.com and check out the best internet station in the world. You're listening to GS Radio Internet Radio Station powered by GMG, LLC.
Beginning there was Jack, and Jack had a groove. And after a while, a deep sleep fell upon him, and he went looking for a new groove. He began looking for a new nation, and it had to be a soulful nation. And he found it, and it was Soulful House Nation. And he saw a building. It was a tall building. It had 10 stories, and he entered the building and got on the elevator and pushed the 10th floor. But it stopped on the 8th floor. And that's where he found his new groove. And he began to jack and jack and jack and jack. And he knew that this was it. It was Soulful House Nation on the 8th floor. Get ready, get ready, get ready.
Get ready. Get ready. Ladies and gentlemen, I am DJ Dan, Soulful House Nation. I'm coming to you live from the 8th floor. I am the unusual suspect. This is SHN at its finest. Ladies and gentlemen, we got another good one today. But first, I want to do a few little things before I bring our special guest on, which I'm super excited about. And you're going to see why soon. We're just going to do a quick, just recap. Of course, the last show we did, we had Big Logan on. Then we played the hottest song of the week, according to Track Source in the Soulful House category. Talk about some stuff that's coming and some new stuff, and then we'll play a classic, and then we're going to go to a conversation with our guest of the week, DJ Kim Davis. Now, what I just want to share with you, just want to do a few little things. Let's give a big shout out to Marcus Garrett for connecting us. Also, too, you can see us now on Facebook. We're on Instagram. We're on X. We're on YouTube. We're on the website. We're on Vimeo and a whole bunch of other places. We're going to be on TikTok TikTok. I don't know, a whole bunch of other places. Yeah, we're gonna be on a whole bunch of other places, but where we're making it happen in Spotify, that's another place. All right. Just also want to give a big shout out to King T Finesse and Ariel Shante for doing our theme song, and also to Chuck Roberts to doing our vocal drop. So, want to play the number one song according to Track Source. Of course, we only play a snippet of it because, basically it's just a nasty, nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. So we're going to play a snippet of that. I'm going to give you some updates, and then we're going to come play an old school track, and then we're going to do what we came here to do, which is have a conversation with DJ Kim Davis. All right, Chuck, play a little snippet of the number one song according to Track Source. It's by Deep Roger, Mark Evans, called Make Love Great Again. We're going to play a little snippet. All right. Okay.
Change is all that's consistent. Oh, requires commitment.
All right, so we're going to fade it out.
Faith is based in conviction.
So we're going to fade it out because, before Facebook does what they do. Kevin Chillis is in the house. How you doing, Kevin? Thanks for stopping by. Hey, listen, I have a few other things here. Just some updates. Just want to give a big shout out to all the people who had parties that I know about over the weekend. That was DJ George Aiken, founder of Deep House Magazine, and they had Mark Francis, George Aiken. Just had a great lineup there. So big shout out to him. Then also too. DJ Chill X had his Black and Red, his annual Black and Red. That was a big deal. So we'll see what's happening this week. Now, new music you should be checking for, all right? Check for Jihad Muhammad has this track. They did this thing called the New Jersey Coalition. And like, I got to tell you something. That compilation is crazy. Jihad does this track called Jumps of Freedom. If you want energy, forget about it. Mark Lewis does has got a new track called Ground Control, and it sounds like the feel of it is new wave-ish house. And I don't know if you remember the song Major Tom, and that was a great track. And to me, I hear songs. When I hear songs, I match things in my head. I guess that's from years of DJing. And it has that feel to it. Check that out. Beloved has Perfect, and he did a main organ mix. Now, it's based on the song he did, Perfect, with Tank, but it's instrumental. It's got a nice flow to it. It's like, and you got some in there going on. So big shout out. And then Mark Francis has Van Dazza. So these are some tracks you should be checking out. So let's do this. Let's play our old school song of the week. We're going to play a snippet, and then we're going to bring on our special guest. Chuck, are you ready? Let's do that. Everything but the girl missing. All right, so we're gonna break it down a little bit. Facebook is this nasty little habit of shutting us down and muting us out. DJ Kim Davis, how you doing? What's up?
Hey, man, how you feeling?
Hey, I'm good. I like to say I'm on this side of the dirt, so it's a good day,
It's a beautiful thing.
Yeah, so, well, listen, first of all, I'm super excited to have you on the show. And what we're going to really do is only once in a while do you get a chance to talk to someone who has been there from the door and just to be able to share their experiences in terms of what they experienced, but also to their observations of the evolution of this thing and what their thoughts about on different things that are happening today versus back in the day. So we're gonna have the conversation like that. So I'm ready. You ready? You ready, Kim?
Always.
Okay. All right. So let's start off with the easy stuff, and just tell us a little bit about you, so people who haven't met you can learn a little bit about you. Tell us a little bit about.
Well, I'm been in the business for a long time, 48 years, and I started as a rap DJ. Really,
Okay.
I was 10 years old. I was one of those guys that back then, in the 70s, they were had groups that DJ
Right.
did parties all over.
Mm-hmm.
And my first love for wanting to do that was from a group called Mark IV.
Oh, Glenn and them.
Yeah. Well, yeah, it's Harold.
Harold was the original. Okay.
Yes, the original guys. We're
Uh-huh.
talking E. Slim, Randall Slim Taylor,
Mm-hmm.
a couple of other guys. They used to go, I think the mayor at that time was Gibson,
Okay.
Ken Gibson.
King Gibson. Okay.
And Mark IV was the first group DJs that had a contract with the city. So I grew up in Newark, New Jersey, Baxter Terrace to be exact. And they would just go over to different projects or developments and play music in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
I was a young kid, and I think I was 8, 9 years old,
Mm-hmm.
and I would watch them. Playground, they would do the playground parties. And the playground parties were crowded and people hustling and dancing, and I loved how people responded to them. And that was the first love of me wanting to do that.
Okay.
Kids want to be a policeman and stuff like that. Yeah,
Right.
I watched them and I fell in love with music, wanting to play music because of those guys. And
Gotcha.
that's how I started. And then I got it with a group called Riviera Disco. That was Harold's cousin.
Okay.
Stephen Harper, Leonard Williams, Carl Ryans, Glenn Davis. They had a group. They were older guys than me, and they taught me how to play. Because I was, when I look at the young guys like Amir and Just, I was them. They put me out there as a young guy, and it became that big sense. I started, my cousin brought me over to the Bronx, 10 years old. DJ contest there, scratching and mixing, and I won.
Okay.
And the first job I had DJing was at 10 years old. I was at the Fever. That's where I won the tournament.
Wow. No.
And that was Red Alert's spot. And the Cool Herc, a few other guys. And then when I got into dance with the disco era in the 76. My mother's records, my father's records, my older sister's records, mixing on there, on their 2 record players.
Okay.
And then I got to with Riviera Disco and started playing on a real system with the music, and it started from there.
Okay. So I'm going to make a few observations here. All right. You know, almost to a person, and I can't think of anybody who hasn't. So that's why I'm saying that they all, including me, started out in terms of we're way back in the day with hip hop. All right? Then the second thing that's runs through this whole thing, the house music DJs, is disco. And then we're like calling it club and stuff like that, and it became named disco. Now, here's the next thing I think is pretty interesting, is that many of us had a family member that was an influence. So with me, it was Aunt Seal, and Aunt Bert. And you had older brothers and sisters. So I find that pretty interesting that to a person, it comes down, there's this sort of like, there's almost this path that you follow,
Yes. It's
Wow.
it's I guess you would say it's a rite of passage.
Yeah, come to think of it, I never thought of it that way. You're right.
You're chosen.
Okay, all right.
And in my household, my mom's household, I was the chosen one because I love playing.
Got
love
you.
Playing. I love seeing the response on people's faces, and even dancing in the house. And then I would get beside myself and would put the speaker in the window. So people in the courtyard walking through would stop in the courtyard and just sit there for hours, however long I was playing music.
Right. Yeah, but I got to tell you, I mean, most people won't understand it, but when you're playing, I mean, there's nothing like that, meaning that, even I talk with Jihad and Beloved, and I ask them, do they prefer producing versus playing? And both of them, they love the playing. It's that connection with the audience. It's that when that audience is feeling what you're putting out, you're like, yes, this is life.
It's nothing like it.
Right.
See, when you're producing or remixing, doing that stuff, you're in the room. You and the sound guy, the engineer.
Right.
So you don't fit. You could come in with the energy, but you don't feel the energy from the audience.
Right. Yeah, it takes it. You got to get out. You got to get in front of those people.
Exactly. And then even when you think you have a hot track,
Yeah,
it probably won't be played until 3 or 4 years later.
that can happen. That can happen.
I call Jihad and Beloved especially. I call it my nephews.
Okay. All right.
Every time I see them, they my nephews. That's how I approach them. But they're very talented. They're
Extremely.
very guys, and they with my interactions with them when I see them, if I'm in town or whatever, it's always been pleasant.
Right.
Talk for hours, especially me and Beloved. We'll talk for hours. They're fun guys to be around.
Right. Good people. Now, how did you get into Soulful House, and who were some of your favorite artists, like from back in the day, now? And how did you get into it?
When I think of house music, the term came out of Chicago. But us in Jersey, New York area, it was always club music. Because club music, if club music had a baby, it was house music.
Right. Got you.
I don't care what anybody try. I don't get into that bickering stuff with Chicago and New York and Jersey about where it came from. The term came from Chicago. But we were playing that form of music in New York and New Jersey all through the 70s. Because it was the music us DJs played in the club. So we called it club music.
Right.
And in the strong influence that we had in the marketing area of North I mean, New York and New Jersey, our music went everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
So the dance, disco era to club music. Um, Even before Frankie went to Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
he was miffed at the term house music because he didn't understand it either because it was like, you know, that stuff you play at the warehouse. They call it house music. Yeah,
Right.
there you go, right there. But it was when Frankie left New York to come to Chicago,
Mm-hmm.
he was playing what we call club music. It was what
Right.
we played in the clubs, the Lolita Holloways, the MFS, or Nicky Siano would tell you, danceable R&B.
Mm-hmm.
It was that music that we played in the clubs.
Mm-hmm.
So that dance music, Crown Hearts Affair, all of that stuff that we were playing in the nightclubs in New York and New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
when Frankie went over there and became resident there, then the godfather of house music, it was basically club music that he brought to Chicago, but they were already playing it. But they were, I don't even think they had a turn yet until the club warehouse.
Mm-hmm. Right. That's when that's where, and you know, as people do, like Robert goes to Bob, William goes to Bill.
Yeah.
So, so I used to be embarrassed to say it, but I'm not embarrassed anymore. I remember when I first heard the term house music, I thought it meant music that you played in the house. So somebody said, "Come here a minute. Let me talk to you for a minute." No.
I
So-
would have grabbed you and said, come over here, Dan.
Yeah. Come here. Let me talk to you for a hot minute.
About to start an international incident here. They take it seriously.
Yeah. Now, who were some of your favorites from back in the day, and who are you listening to now?
What, DJs or
No, as far as the artists back then.
please? I listen to a lot of artists. I like to. I'm more or less a classic guy with underground undertones.
Mm-hmm.
I love like what Frankie Knuckles would do. I love to play melodies as what more
Mm-hmm.
than the average guys, because you know the clubs I was playing in. Colonel Abrams and stuff like that. Those guys,
Sure.
they were considered underground artists. They hadn't hit mainstream
Mm-hmm.
at that time. So we would play a lot of different stuff. So I can't even really say me having a one particular favorite artist. I love them all, but
Mm-hmm.
if I had to in the dance music category, it would definitely put a Lolita Holloway up there.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
But wow,
Yeah.
a different time, Dan. You know.
Listen, let me tell you what. So 50 years later, maybe
Mm-hmm.
40 something, easy.
Yeah,
Her music is still relevant.
it's always was she
Mm-hmm.
with Patty.
Mm-hmm.
Well, look, you talk about groups that even now will sit a lot of these young people now.
Mm-hmm.
So they were the vocal range and talents of those particular artists were unmatched.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you know, too, but it's not only playing her music directly, but it's also them sampling her voice and putting it on other beats. So really, okay, I'm gonna stretch here for a minute. You know how they used to sample James Brown with all the hip hop stuff?
Yeah.
She's like the James Brown of house music in terms of getting sampled.
Exactly.
You know, so yeah. Now, I'm sorry.
A lot of stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Now,
With it.
I'm sorry.
You can't go wrong with them.
You can't. You can't. You can't. Now, where do you see house music headed, especially as a person who's been here from the door? I mean, matter of fact, you've been there before they built the door.
Yeah. That's the, woo. You really look at my age.
Well, you said I say you're going into your golden year. 50's the golden year.
Until I don't like it no more.
Yeah, you'll do like I do. I go like I say young Dan, and you'll be young Kim. How about that?
My wife would say the same thing.
Oh, okay.
You're not young anymore, Kim.
Yeah, well, we never let this go.
No.
So yeah, so where do you see it headed? I mean,
I see it expanding.
okay.
Really, because I see the influence, especially in the dance realm,
Mm-hmm.
of even getting into the pop culture now.
Mm-hmm.
One of the biggest markets,
Mm-hmm.
if not the biggest.
Mm-hmm.
And those artists, those pop artists, best records are with a house music track behind it.
Mm-hmm. Okay, let's park there for a minute. Okay, I'm throwing this out here, and I want to get your thoughts on it. All right, what's up, DJ Dell? How you doing? What's up in Baltimore? Okay, all right. So let me get your thoughts here. All right, the pop artists are hearing the music, just like country people know about hip hop.
Yes.
I mean, Taylor Swift, who's obviously the biggest artist in the world now, is very familiar with Usher. She even brought him on stage. She's very familiar with a lot of the hip hop stuff. I mean, it's not like they don't know. So here's my question: do you think, or what do you think? And Beyonce is very, very, and so they're around. They don't only listen to what they play or what they sing.
Mm-hmm.
So like we're noticing more and more influence, that 4 on the 4 type stuff. What do you think it's going to take for some of the biggest pop artists in the world to go full blown and say, hey, wait a minute, let me get some of these cats who are really, really making the music. What's up with that? Because remember, anything that goes, I'm going to say overground, starts underground. So I just, what's your thoughts on that? And do you see that? Where's it going? How do we get onto the big deck? I mean, what's your thoughts?
Well, I don't see it being too far gone.
Okay.
I see it in the near future as opposed to a few years down the line.
Okay.
You have DJ producers like Terry Hunter. You have
Right.
guys like Black Coffee starting to venture in that because he uses a lot of those. He's like an amoeba type of DJ / producer. His influence worldwide is unmatched. It haven't been seen since Carl Cox.
Sure.
Guys like that. So, and then you have David Morales. So those guys like that. I don't see that being far from not being.
Got you.
That those artists or those label managers will get in touch with guys like that. Because they're over there. They're overseas. Our music is probably made here in this country, but like years ago, we'll make it here, but we'll send it overseas first. You have a few choice friends or DJs that's here in the States that you give a copy to that'll play it here. is being played and played and played overseas first before it comes back.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of
Mm-hmm.
those songs is old over there,
Mm-hmm.
but it's new here.
Mm-hmm. Right. You know, here's what's interesting. Here's what's interesting. All right. Along these lines, especially what you were saying here, now I don't really have to put a record in the mail. I can sit at my computer and you could have it in seconds.
Yes.
So along those lines, so you're right about that.
But
Interesting.
see, sometimes it depends on who you're signed to, if they're signed to anybody. If you're independent or whatever,
Mm-hmm.
in problems.
Mm-hmm.
So I can play it in the club, yeah, 'cause,
Mm-hmm.
over airways, so I can play it for a select few
Mm-hmm.
or who happen to be there.
Mm-hmm.
But when you trying to really push that songs on these channels with licensing laws, it's hard to do,
Mm-hmm.
and that's where they handcuff you as a artist or a producer, because
Mm-hmm.
you can't get the people that you want to really feel the track,
Mm-hmm.
really understand or listen to the whole track in its entirety.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Right. Got you. Got you. Interesting. Yeah. Now, tell us some of the places you played over the years. Is there any place on your bucket list that you still want to get to?
Well, I played over my year. The clubs I played in my first residency was at a club downtown Newark,
Mm-hmm.
late 70s,
Mm-hmm.
very early 80s was Touch of Class
Mm-hmm. Okay.
on Broad Street. And then from there, I was at Paradisio's for a few years.
Okay.
From Paradisio's, I think I went to Tweeds.
Okay. All right.
Then I was at Magoo's.
Okay. You resurrecting.
Yes, I was at these clubs for a few years. I wasn't like a guy that came and played for a weekend or a month, or I
Mm-hmm.
was clubs for years.
Mm-hmm.
At least it got to be. One time I was juggling two clubs for like 8 years.
Mm-hmm.
Both of them was crowded. You had Cosmos, had Bogies at the same time.
Right. 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 Mm-hmm.
I was playing with, I was Charades
Hmm.
and Magoo's at the same time.
Wow.
It was a lot of clubs. I went to Michigan, Southfield, Michigan, played in I was being flown out there from New York.
Okay.
That came and got me out of Bogies. And I was playing at two clubs in Michigan. One was called Cheeks, and the other was the Polo Club. I
Wow.
would fly out there some weekends, like twice a month, and come back to Jersey. I played at the Cotton Club in New York.
Wow.
I've been numerous places.
Now, is there any? For a lot of people, you're like ringing bells, big time. Ding, 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 ding. Oh shucks, I forgot all about that. Oh yes, this. Oh yeah. Now, how about this? Now, is there any place that you still want to play that you haven't played yet?
I would like to try Now and Then in Brooklyn. And,
Oh, okay.
I haven't done any festivals since the late 90s, like in the parks and stuff like that, but I would love to go back out to Ibiza. We were going overseas years ago. I didn't go. I was scared to fly, too, really. So I had to take a pretty penny to get me to fly.
Got you. Got you.
'Cause I was scared, but my buddy would go overseas all the time. That was Dave Camacho. That
Oh,
was
okay.
the guy I grew up with.
Now,
You know?
come on. I'm sorry for interrupting. I get excited for a moment. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, we grew up together, and
Mm-hmm.
that was he was to me. He, Larry Patterson, and T. Scott to me
Mm-hmm.
were with me and Dave. It was more or less arms race with us.
Okay.
It was a friendly arms race, and we would go to pick up music on Wednesdays and
Mm-hmm.
Fridays,
Mm-hmm.
the city or wherever else we were going, and then we would go directly to the record labels.
Mm-hmm.
So the rec MCA and RCA and all of these different record labels, Fourth and Broadway, all of
Mm-hmm.
them had other record um, labels that they owned.
Mm-hmm.
But with me and Dave, we would go right to the A&R person that sat on all of them. They would give us boxes of records
Okay.
and
Okay.
boxes of reel-to-reel tapes. We'd get home and try to figure this out before we would play music that night
Uh-huh.
or that weekend at different places, and we'd figure out what we didn't have.
Mm-hmm.
So we would exchange music with each other. We would sit down for a couple of hours. And say, well, I got 3 copies of that. Here, you can have one.
Okay.
Yeah. But he was a master at that because he would sit there. He would sit in his basement for hours listening to everything.
Mm.
And I had too many things going on, so I would play it. If something if a snippet of it caught
Yep.
my ear,
Yes.
I would play it
Yeah.
that I was playing to
Mhm.
see what reaction I would get, because the following week we had to say which ones were good and which ones wasn't.
Yeah, yeah, for the playlist. I got you.
Mm-hmm.
So let me just do 2 quick things here. First of all, let me give you a few shout outs. For the record, thanks for coming by. Everybody, please share, share, share. We have a legend on. We have a gentleman who really was there. It's not, they did some research and then came back and tried to tell the story. He was part of the story. So we have DJ Kim Davis on. So please share with everyone. Share with everyone, because this is good stuff, and we get ready to go deeper. Watch this. So now, now just real quick, David Camacho. I've heard this name many, many times. Is this the gentleman? Is this gentleman influenced a lot of people? Is this the gentleman that passed away?
Yes.
Okay, all right, because he's influenced a lot of people. I've heard his name multiple times from many DJs, and now I hear it again. Let me ask you this question. Okay, how about people you've played with over the years, and is there anybody you want to play with? Folks, hang in there. This is going to go deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper. We're gonna get juicier and juicier. So, well, you'll see. So yeah. So, is there anybody? I mean, who have you played with? Been on the same bill? Is there anybody you want to play with at this point?
During my earlier years, I was on the same bill with Larry Patterson and T. Scott.
Mm-hmm.
Most of the times back then, and Barry, the California DJ.
Mm.
Those guys, even though they had 3 different styles there,
Mm-hmm.
those were the guys that molded me to get my own style.
Gotcha.
Take a little bit from all of those guys, and along with David.
Mm-hmm.
David was like the underground king.
Mm.
Me, he loved that gritty, unheralded type of playlist.
Mm-hmm.
He would play things that normal guys that's trying to break in and trying to force their own niche in this business, he would play things that was skipped over you. You
Gotcha.
couldn't understand it, where he was going with it, but he played it in a way that you could understand it.
Mm-hmm. Got
You
you.
had to care for it.
Mm-hmm.
Larry Levan, I um, opened up one time doing a new music seminar back in the late 80s, early 90s.
Mm-hmm.
That was an intimidating thing.
Hmm. Okay.
If ever was,
Mm-hmm.
if it ever that, but you know, I learned a lot from him. What it, what I learned from him was the way to break music. I don't think
Mm.
there was ever a DJ that I've ever come across that knew how to break new music.
So, what does that mean in terms of what he did, that kind of stuff like that?
Larry wasn't a great mixer. I think
Right.
back back then, I think the best blender rather, was T. Scott.
Got you.
Then you had Kenny Carpenter. Then you had
Mm-hmm.
Larry Patterson.
Mm-hmm.
David came right up behind him, and that was just massive. What David had done, I would love to work with David Morales,
Mm-hmm.
or Timmy Register.
Mm-hmm.
Those guys. Tony Humphries was more or less back then. Um, his emergence was something special too,
Mm-hmm.
because he played mostly techno
Mm-hmm.
in the earlier years. But,
Mm-hmm.
when he came to North New Jersey to play at Zanzibar,
Mm-hmm.
um, he had to learn how to play on those thorns.
Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
And once he got it, he
Yeah. That.
that's a guy that know how to break music. He was breaking European tracks that nobody had heard of.
Mm-hmm. Got
So
you.
it's but Larry, I would say, was the Larry Levan was the best person DJ ever to break new music.
Mm-hmm.
Because even though when people started criticizing him for what music he started playing in the later years of the garage,
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to teach you something.
Got you.
And
Mm-hmm.
he was trying to teach you, he was trying to bring other big artists, like we were talking about early in the conversation,
Mm-hmm.
of the pop music, of
Right.
the big money uh,
Mm-hmm.
music. He was trying to bring them in, and he
Mm-hmm.
was trying to get the audience to start understanding people like Madonna and
Mm-hmm.
Kraftwerk and
Mm.
Soft Cell. He was playing.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. All right. Wow.
You were coming off of Sylvester, and he'll break in cocaine running around my brain, or some something different that you never heard before,
Got you. Got you. And
and you
yeah,
will love it.
yeah, yeah. Now, how about this? Let's talk about you're playing now too, correct? I know you had this weekend. You had something.
And
Yeah.
in a club called Dream in Linden, New Jersey,
Mm-hmm.
this past Saturday.
Mm-hmm.
I will be back there January the 14th, I believe.
Okay.
And we're trying to build a older crowd that still party, but looking for a different vibe, so to
Mm-hmm.
speak,
Mm-hmm.
where they're drinking liquor and
Okay.
keeping the lights on in the club.
Got you. It's a little thing, right? I got you. Mm-hmm. Right. Right. Well, that sounds like to me, and you tell me, it sounds like they're gonna really need some flexibility with the music. What I mean by that, huh?
Well, the flexibility with us, myself and another brother that can play music.
Mm-hmm.
He's one of those guys that you don't hear about is Kevin Chillis.
Oh, Kevin. Sure, I know Kevin Chiller. He does sound too.
Yes,
Uh-huh.
that's my guy. He and Barry B.
Okay, Barry B. Barry B's on the line. What's up, Barry? He's on.
Those are my guys.
Okay.
You know, they compliment me well musically
Mm-hmm.
because I play a lot of classics. I play a lot of melodies. I play a lot of underground. I play a lot of new, but I mix it a lot with the unheralded classic songs that you haven't heard in years.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like a mosh posh of, oh wow, I haven't heard that in a
Right.
long time.
Mm-hmm.
With oh wow, I just heard they just came out with that. And, so we're doing that type of thing.
Let me ask you a question about that. Because a classic can be new if you haven't heard it in a long time, but you know the words. But let me ask you this: do you find that when you play classics, for me, I could tell you. So back in the day, I played what we call classics now because they were out then.
Yeah.
But I find that they're harder to mix because a lot of times you got a drummer on it, a live drummer compared to a machine cranking out those beats.
Yeah.
And one of the things that happened for me is that what I need to do, if I know I'm going to be playing some classics on the Keep It Real side, I got to go back and I got to practice up on some of that stuff, because when you're playing that stuff every day, that the drummer's going to miss here, and you adjust like that and that kind of stuff. Whereas today, once you get the beat lined up, I'm not saying it doesn't vary, and you're going to have to play it right and all that kind of stuff. You can know it's boom, 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 not instead of boom, bitty boom. You agree with that, or you find them harder to play, or I guess
It was bands. It wasn't. There
Yeah.
wasn't drum machines and
Right,
computerized drums that stay on 124 beats per minute.
right,
Stuff like that. Back then, it was actual bands playing. So if you're a human
mm-hmm,
playing a song or you're beating a drum
mm-hmm.
at 124, you're getting tired. So you go 122, 121, and then you get back up to 124.
Uh-huh.
The thing
Yeah.
is knowing your music.
Right, and that's really super important when you're playing classics. When you're playing classics, you got to.
You'll see 124, but by the time you go to line up at 124, is at 118. So you have to know how to mix it. And some music wasn't never meant to be blended for 8-9 minutes.
Right,
So
right,
you have to know the song, know the music.
right.
So you tell these young guys, listen, man, that song goes up and down.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of these guys don't know how to do tempo changes, mixes.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes, I would tell a young guy to start off at 84 BPMs and work your way up to 124
Mm-hmm. Gotcha.
without stopping the song. If you can't do that,
Mm-hmm.
this is not for you.
Mm-hmm. Oh, got you.
You have your window should be 5 years
Mm-hmm.
as a DJ. If you haven't made any of your bucket lists in 5 years when you're in this game,
Mm-hmm.
the game is not for you.
Mm-hmm. Wow, interesting point of view. How about this? So let's talk about the evolution. Do you see it as the same or different? Or if it is different, how is it different from back in the day? And I want to ask you the same thing about the music too, and a few other categories. What's your take on it? The evolution. I'm gonna call it the evolution of DJ music, the clubs, and I want to talk about the clubs a little bit. In addition to this, I mean, how is it the same? How is it different, or is it just the same? What do you say? in terms of the
In some areas,
DJ. Mm-hmm.
it's it's changed. It's not the same.
Okay.
Back in the day, club wise,
Mm-hmm.
the clubs stayed open from what was generated at the door in the bar.
Mm-hmm.
The clubs made money at the door.
Mm-hmm.
If a promoter was involved, he got a percentage of the door.
Mm-hmm.
The bar always belonged to the club,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
and they negotiated a salary with the DJ.
Mm-hmm.
Now, a lot of people don't understand the business mindset of that whole thing. The business mindset of a club then and now
Mm-hmm.
and even in the middle
Okay.
was the club doors don't stay open unless the club makes money.
Right.
Always a generating factor. And some DJs with egos and even some promoters with egos,
Mm-hmm.
I bring you 1,000, I bought you 1,000 people, but all right,
Doing
you got
drink.
1,000 people in there.
Mm-hmm.
The bar only made $300.
Right. You don't drink. Right.
The promoters want the whole door,
Mm-hmm.
so they walking out with $8,000,
Mm-hmm.
but the club only made $300.
Got you.
Now, if
Gotcha.
you're a homeowner, even if you're not, and you have electric bills and all of that stuff in your own home life,
Mm-hmm.
who's paying that?
Right. Right.
So
Right.
the difference is, and then in the summers now, the park thing is
Mm.
everywhere. So the people are saying they don't have to go to the club to spend no money because they're in the park all day.
For free. Right. Mm-hmm.
But those DJs get paid, and the organizers get paid from sponsors and towns and stuff like that. So it's a win-win for them.
Got you. All right. Let's park here for a minute. Okay, and I think some of this could happen to do with, you remember when there were the super clubs? You
Yeah.
remember that, all right? And for the most part, you don't really see that, and especially for our style of music. That's a party, that's a bar or something like that, and even then they don't play it all the time because a lot of people say there's no money in house music, meaning that people don't spend the money.
And
They say, huh?
they exhausted all of the money-making avenues in that genre.
Mm-hmm.
So you're left with a lot of people that love to dance. That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
But a lot of them is either in recovery from
Right.
which I was really out there playing music,
Mm-hmm.
because they were drinking and getting high, and that's what they did.
Mm-hmm.
So and they're in recovery, and so there's no avenue for them as just dancers. The dancers,
Mm-hmm.
even though as a DJ, I always welcome dancers. I look for dancers,
Right.
but I also have to be mindful of the business aspect of it.
Right. Right. That's
So I have
sorry.
to take tempo changes to get them at the bar.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the business that a lot of DJs not aware of. And we
Mm-hmm.
play 6, 7, 8 hours by ourselves every night.
Yeah, I remember that. I remember working in New York, and I worked up there for several years, and I worked in Jersey. On certain nights, I worked up in New York, and then other times I worked in Jersey. And in Jersey, I worked from 9 to 3, and
Yeah.
2:45 because they start shutting it down.
Mm-hmm.
And then in New York, I'd start at 8 o'clock at night. I'd play till 4 in the morning.
Yeah.
Never teach us up, and say start cutting it down about 3:45 in that range. They start cutting the lights on, try to run the people out, get the people
Yeah.
out. But yeah, it was a different time. Now this is something else too that I noticed, and you kind of like hit on it now. So you have a lot of free venues, and there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
However, I say to myself, I don't mean me in particular, but individual, so I can see Billy Bob. I can go over here and spend $20-$30 and see Billy Bob. Okay. Or next Friday, he's going to be at the park for free, and I can see him for free. Now, why would I spend the money over here? So really, I think that speaks to, like, if you're a club owner, you got to really be asking yourself, how am I distinguishing, what I'm doing, or what am I bringing to the table that they can't get for free? I think and I don't know the answer to that question, but you got to answer that question. The second thing I noticed too is this, and another gentleman that we're familiar with, who likes to stay in the background, discuss this all the time. You could take, some of the big dogs, or I call them the usual suspects.
Mm-hmm.
Now, if you put them together, you sell the place out.
Mm-hmm.
But one-on-one, maybe not. Because, again, I think a big part of that is that you can get access to them for free. But you can't get access to them when you put them all together. So maybe that's part of it. I don't know the answer to it. I don't know. What are your thoughts on that? I mean, it's hard to pack a party.
Yeah, well, it's hard to pack a party because it takes time. Because a lot of these guys are not at one particular venue long enough.
Got you.
So, and then a lot of these, everything takes patience.
Mm-hmm.
To build something takes patience.
Mm-hmm.
You have to have a patient partner of an owner.
Mm-hmm.
If the owner is not patient, it's not going to work.
Got you.
If you go into every party where you got 300 people, put it like this: you got 300 people.
Mm-hmm.
You're charging 10. All 300 people got $20 to their name after they done paid their bills or whatever.
Got you.
They got $10, $15 to get in.
Uh-huh.
What they gonna do with that last $5? They ain't gonna buy a drink.
Yeah, right.
They holding on to that.
Right. Mm-hmm.
So now the door made the money.
Right.
You might
Gotcha.
you might have 20 people buy 2 or 3 drinks.
Got you.
So now the light's gonna go off.
Got you.
So now the owner got to come out his money in his pocket for that.
Right.
The door they're not giving up.
Right.
Whoever promoting the party is not giving it up.
Right. Mm-hmm.
Now you locking horns with the owner over now his venue not making money and you not making enough money.
Got you. Yeah.
Go
So.
back.
Yeah. So yeah, you're right. You know, it's funny. We pray for patience, but we don't realize in order to have patience, you got to go through some things.
Exactly.
So we don't want to go through.
That pay cut.
Huh?
Sometimes you have to take that pay cut. I like to talk about it until you get to the point where both of you guys are happy.
Mm-hmm.
You gotta take a pay cut.
Right.
But everybody wants to do their own thing.
Mm-hmm.
So I just wait for. I'm fortunate enough to wait for good situations
Mm-hmm.
for both for me and what I'm trying to do.
Got you.
I got a nice little strong team. I have the guys I mentioned. I have my cousin Gregory Gilliam.
Mm-hmm.
Ron, my man Snoop,
Mm-hmm.
Ron's
Mm-hmm.
for me sometimes. So I got good guys, but it the situation got to be right.
Right. And you really, 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 I'm gonna keep going. Really, really, really keep going. Really, 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 really hit it on the head is patience. And then two, you got to be willing or have the ability to stand the financial hit until you until the pace.
It's where I wanted to be the first place.
Right.
When I was back then and now, that's the difference between back then and now. So back then, I can say, listen, you want me to be a resident at so and so club, and all right, when Friday night, Saturday night. Okay, I'll take $1,000 a night. We start there. After 2 years, we renegotiate. Now you have the place that stand really, even if I'm doing a different gigs or party somewhere else, that one of those nights and I'm not there, the club is still making money because of the patience. They don't have owners that was patient like those owners of the 70s, the 80s, and 90s. These guys want a quick return on their investment.
Right.
No one's looking at longevity.
Right. And it's hard. It's hard. Unless you're gonna bring in black coffee, but then you still might not make money because
I have to pay black coffee.
yeah, I'm just saying. By the time you pay him, that might be the money right there, you know. But I was
when he comes to New York, because I don't even think he's been to Jersey. But when he comes to New York, he's been to Madison Square Garden.
Yes. Sold it out a couple times.
Party Way did it under a bridge. And you had and, you know, Carl Cox is another one that comes to New York and takes Randall Island by himself.
Yes.
So these guys, if you want to make money on what you have, a lot of clubs don't know if they had a patient owner, you get somebody like Louis or David, and be patient, the crowd will be there. And you'll make a return of some sort on your investment.
Got you. Interesting. That might have been the silver bullet right there, what you just said, patience. And then you got to have the money to be able to wait it out until it pops. Right. Right.
The reward is greater than the pain in the beginning.
Interesting.
Because you could basically go on to other businesses or expand on that one business that you had.
Interesting.
You think about if the garage would have still been here. If the garage was still here, they would do, I'm sure, before Joey and all of those guys start doing reunions, garage reunions, had the owners of the garage kept that building and kept that spot, just like in Chicago, had they before they turned it into a law office, the warehouse, had they kept things going there and used the guys from Chosen Few. Have a residency there, the building would still be self-sustaining.
Right. Now, Holly Rock, what's up? Kevin Chillis, DJ Bilal, tell her like a T.I. is. Anyway, okay, you know what? I just got a few more questions, only because we're running out of time. But that's okay. This is a good running out of time.
That's great.
Okay, so let's talk the equipment and what you got going in 2025. As you know, records, for those who don't know what a record is, big black CD. You know, it's gone to laptops, flash drives, and some people are even streaming. What's your take on that compared to back in the day lugging records and that kind of stuff? How do you feel about, they have controllers, they have decks, they have multiple ways to do things compared to back in the day. You have you had the big amps that you had to carry versus today, the amps are built right into the speakers. What's your thought about I'm going to call it the modernization, the evolution of the equipment? What's your thoughts on that?
Evolution on the equipment is a good thing. It's not a bad thing. What I think it is, and I may get flack on this, I don't care. Along with the days of playing with records was challenging for most, but easier for us guys that's been doing it for a long time.
Gotcha.
Because it was hands-on. You could see where the grooves were. You could see where the breaks was. If you've been doing it a long time, you can basically tell, you can pinpoint where you want to present your next record.
Hey, hence the scratch artist.
Yeah. That's why it was great for me to start off as a hip-hop DJ. DJ. We didn't even call it hip-hop.
Right.
Back then, before I became a club DJ. But what it is, I have biased opinions on the laptop DJ, really. Not necessarily them personally. Because I don't have a particular problem with, not even the software, but I have a particular problem with, a lot of these guys don't know how to mix yet.
Right.
And the software on the computers and some of these laptops is called a sync button. And they use that sync button to do their mixing for them, the mixing formats for them. And so it's no know-how involved. The computer does everything for them. And they sit up there and they call their stuff a DJ, but when you put turntables or CDJ players in front of them, minus the controller and the computer, it's a shipwreck.
Okay. So let me tell you what I've heard about. I mean, to me personally, I like to say, what's a 4-letter word that starts with S? And I know what you're thinking. Sync, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I mean, I don't care one or the other, but I got to tell you, if you go into a club and if you ever have to play classics or non-syncopated, beats, you're going to have a problem. Now, I remember going into this store and this guy in there, in his 20s, I would say. He's in his 20s, my age. Anyway, he was playing songs, but he'd set the song up, then hit the sync button and played it. That was fine. And I had the conversation with, honestly, you want to play the sync button? I don't sweat it, but I will tell you, if you get in an environment where you're not playing on your equipment and you're not playing on that boom, 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 those machine generated beats, you're gonna have a challenge. Now, for some people, that's not an issue. And let me just give you an example. I know how to drive a stick. A lot of people never learned how to drive a stick, but it's no issue for them because they don't drive sticks. They're not going to drive a stick or whatever.
Exactly.
So, but I do think, consider it. If you're going to be serious about the DJing thing, consider learning how to play without the sync button. Do you have to? No, you don't. You can do what you want. I go back to, do you have to drive a stick? Doesn't mean you can't drive, just means you just can't drive a stick. But again, most of the cars are automatic anyway. But anyway, how about this now? And as we're going to come in for a soft landing, because the problem here, Kim, is that I could talk to you for another hour and never take a breath. That's the problem here. But, okay. But, okay, just come more quick things. Okay. So, what's up with you for 2025? What should we look for? And then I'm going to ask you another real key question that goes with what we've been talking about. What have you learned over the last 48 years? But let's start with what's up with you in the next. What happens for you in 2025?
Oh, 2025. Wow. Inshallah for the Muslims if I live that long.
Okay, all right.
Just I would like to be more active musically, playing wise. I like to be in an environment where music is music, love is love, and people can come and get along and leave just as much as they came. I like finding a venue that's suitable for what I want to bring differently to the house music community and the table, so to speak. And that's a more of a relaxed vibe that we don't have like we used to. A place where everybody is included in what's going on. It's not enough of that. And that's basically another residency somewhere. I love the residency situations because you get to mingle with people every week. It's once a week, one day out of the week, every week. You get to do, I think it's more flexible because you could play a lot of different things, a lot of things that they're not used to hearing.
Right, you're right.
It's in need of. They're tired of hearing the same songs the same way everywhere they going. And then, for some folks, that's just fine with them. For a person like myself, it's not.
Gotcha.
I listen to 10 guys one place, they all play the same thing. Then you go to another part, and the other 10, and 10 more new guys playing the same thing. Even play a different version. Play something different.
I got you. I got you. So you want a residency and, sort of like that Cheers format. You come in, hey, Billy Bob, how you doing? How was your week? Here's what's popping.
We don't have enough of that.
Okay. All right. Okay. And now, how about lessons you've learned coming up on your golden year in this business? How about things you've learned?
Well, things I learned to
Couple
stay
lessons.
out of that don't have nothing to do with me.
Okay. Okay.
That's
Gotcha.
what I stay out of things that don't have anything to do with myself. That's the thing I live by.
Okay. All right.
Oftentimes we get involved with things that really we shouldn't. And had you kept your mouth shut, you wouldn't be in it. So I stay in my own lane.
Gotcha.
I like guys that stay in their own lane.
Got you.
I'm too old to be out there fighting.
Got you.
I learned from one, but I'm too old for that.
Got you. Any final thoughts or things that you would like to share? And if people want to reach you, if you want that to happen, how they do it. So final thoughts, and if you want people to reach you, how would they do it?
Well, if they want to reach me, you can reach me on my my email is kimb.davis23@gmail.com.
Okay.
Or you can even call me on my cell phone.
Okay. All right.
347-869-3402.
Repeat that one more time. Yeah.
347-869-3402.
Got you. Okay. All right. Any final thoughts?
Keep love.
Okay. So listen, Kim, this was very good. Unfortunately, I don't have another hour and a half to sit with you because I have many unanswered questions. Troy, what's up? Thank you so much for coming out. Also, too, want to give Marcus a big shout out for connecting us. And yeah. So, continued blessings to you. What we do, I mean, you can break off anytime you want. After this, we go into the Shazam free zone, and I play only brand new music. And you don't have to Shazam it. I'm going to tell you what it is. I play it and say it, and you can decide if it's a smash or if it's trash, and it's your call on it. I just play, yeah. I just say, well, listen, I think this is something they should hear, and I'm going to play it. So we're going to lead off with Jihad's track. It's like, I like
That's
the,
you.
yeah, the energy. It's called Drums of Freedom. So, Chuck. You want to get us going here? The name of the track is called Hey, Kim, thank you so much. Happy holiday season to you. All that kind of good stuff, huh?
Same to you, guy.
All right. Thank you. All right, sir. Blessings to you.
All right, buddy.
Okay. Thanks. All right.